Externalization of the Krystal Star. Dear Ascending Family, for many years, those of us directly working for the Ascension timeline have undergone persecution, misunderstanding, constant psychic attack, isolation, betrayal, and excruciating pain in order to meet the requirements that these incredible circumstances have placed upon our mind, body, and spirit to finally make it to this very important time for our planet and all of humanity. The only way to survive and be sane in the ascension process when your number has been called is to always remember you are in this world, but you are not of this world. As with the biblical reference, which is highly misunderstood, Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world." What is being referenced in this verse is that the Christ consciousness, the Krystal Star presence, is not of this world, is not of this earth. The controllers have been hiding the true historical origin of not only humanity, but Christ as an extraterrestrial presence for a very long time. They had hijacked the written and oral histories of our indigenous tribes and created the Planetary Christ story to promote the crucifixion of humanity's real inner spirit. For those of us as awakened starseeds, we had a better comprehension of this fact, as most of us knew that the Christ consciousness was not from here, as we are not from here. Most of us have been very uncomfortable living on this planet for that very reason. Many of us have been reduced to living a double life for the fear if we show our real heart self, we may be singled out and tortured, as the many histories of genocide have taught us here. This Christ family is beginning to be safe now, which means that it is time to reveal your true spiritual nature to the world. Like myself, many of us in this family have not been able to freely share with others our real role with this planet. This runs the gamut of planetary lightworking, extra-dimensional contacts and communication, awakening experiences, otherworldly experiences, developing progressive healing and teaching modalities, soul retrieval and transiting, designing new blueprints, planetary grid work, and etheric surgery. We finally have a frequency support grid of crystal current, which allows those of us with this role to exist more comfortably on planet Earth. The time of the promised return of Christ, the externalization of the Krystal Star presence, the cosmic Christ unity consciousness, is beginning now as an ascension timeline made for the planet Earth. All of this building up for such an important and awaited time to reach this little blue planet. And it happened without any pomp or circumstance from the masses. So congratulations to this small light and star family who resonate with these words as your contribution is deeply acknowledged and appreciated from the silent watchers of humanity. Anti-Climactic Feelings. However, those of us that have been aware of this recent anchoring have been cautiously elated, suspended in the animation of that internal feeling. There is cosmic victory. We have felt a deepened release that has left us somewhat exhausted and maybe even confused, while in the middle of this victorious feeling. This has pitted us with the great juxtaposition of potential inner conflict. This is created between the incredible contrast of external and world events and our victorious inner feeling. For some of us, we may feel saddened, let down, anticlimactic, and disappointed that we cannot see in the material world a great manifestation of this recent incredible event on planet Earth. Where is the peace on Earth? Where is our Mother Presence? What we come to terms with now in our deepest soul and inner being is the new beginning of the externalization of the Christ presence in this world. We have a fairer playground now, of which the constant energetic pummeling, victimizer programs, and constriction will stop or lessen when a human being is embodying the crystal or Christ principle. There has been a saying by beings off planet. They crucify the Christ down there on earth, and there was a great truth in that statement. The predator's enforced crucifixion of Christ is over on the planet. Yet, the re-education of the many humans that have been brainwashed to believe otherwise is still the greater task at hand. We still have many people on Earth covered with alien machinery and their ego programs without identifying them as inorganic vampire technology. At the very least, the frequencies and balanced energies made more easily available on the planet now will allow for a softer and easier time for our group. Many more people will come to the expanded consciousness level to understand that the old way of existing in a mind-controlled lifestyle created from alien machinery does not work for them anymore. Aurora hosting cycle begins. The morphogenetic structure of the planetary mathematical architecture has been coded to fully anchor the Krystal Star frequency presence, along with running its living energetic current in the planetary brain. This has been generated from the constant work involved in the rehabilitation and recoding of the damaged planetary grids, which act as the central nervous system for the planet. There is still much more to do with resetting the planetary grids and the logos brain into compatible messaging for trinitized frequency formats. After a knockdown, dragged-out battle for the endgame pieces in December, We emerged from the demolition of the flying dust particles in early January with all of those pieces. Those pieces began a reassembly process that has been frenzied with many extra-dimensional and multidimensional humans acting as conduits in the end game. This was to allow the liquid crystal forces and its current to wash through the many energetic tributaries, ley lines, and meridians within the planetary consciousness field. In the first week of January, grid workers were in extreme pressure and being pushed to stop certain structures from being used on the planet's grid lines. These structures were called minarets, and they had to be stopped from broadcasting reversal frequency for the net, as well as pumping many genocidal and suicidal mind control programs into the planet. This was an immensely successful project as it finalized the corrections required that allow for the anchoring of the crystal frequency lines to be made accessible on this planet. This is a first-time event, as this crystal frequency and its Ascension platform have never been in this density before, as it's beginning to seep through the many, many multiple field layers at this time. This is a multidimensional event which impacts parallel realities and future Earth timelines. This event necessitates that we will continue to rebuild architecture ongoing from this month as a part of the full Ascension timeline available on the Earth for the next 1,000 years. At the end of this root race consciousness cycle, the Guardians had been extracting Melchizedek hosting architecture and other fallen networks in the planetary consciousness grids. These various networks are systematically being recoded to the avatar of Ascension, or to the Aurora host. The Aurora host and/or the Krystal Star are the consciousness root race evolution cycle that we begin this month. The Aurora are the ascending host consciousness for the new races evolving on planet Earth. The fail-safe effort. During the last weeks of December and into early January, the reclamation of planetary consciousness technology that was usurped and used by negative alien networks was in battle for control. There were millions of light beings working this project from the inner and outer dimensional planes. Once the Mother's quintessence opened the larger creatrix field, by locking into intersection portals within multiple universal core gateways on December 21st, a huge amount of group consciousness and entity fields enthusiastically rushed into our universal system. Once these gateways opened, we had a flood of massively large light beings from the next universes come to help us. This was to answer for the call of support to manifest the real Ascension timeline for planet Earth, which allowed for the release of enslavement through alien technology and their programs of reincarnation. The magnitude and size of this group effort is beyond our comprehension. This is completely new consciousness architecture, consciousness creations, source technologies, blueprint fields, crystal entities that were ignited by this merging presence with the Aurora Hosting Project. This was the Ascension fail-safe effort that was immediately implemented when the portal gateways were open to allow the full access into our universal system. Many of you listening to this were probably involved, as it was the last push to bring the Aurora host to reconnect thoroughly into the planetary fields. This fail-safe effort was sourced in the deepest love and the deepest unification between millions of light beings collaborating with humanity to change the future timelines to an ascending planet. It has been truly staggering, humbling, and awe-inspiring to witness this effort and know that we are cared for and truly loved at levels beyond our imagining. The four-square house of God. Some of us were assigned in different places on the earth, remotely, for the anchoring of 4 huge vertical sound wave pillars. These 4 pillars also cross diagonally into horizontal bases located in multiple dimensions of time into the parallel Earth realities. This is akin to saying that all parallel Earth realities are connected for access in any time field through this guardian-built architecture on the planet. In order for the crystal consciousness to live on the earth plane, the house of God, which is the mathematical architecture which allows the liquid light of Krystal Star to exist and live within, must be built to contain the crystal frequency. The containment structure itself, built in the planetary consciousness field, is referred to as the city Foursquare. We also must build and rehabilitate the city Foursquare in our own personal auric bodies to contain and hold the crystal light frequency. The city Foursquare represents the 4 planes of matter in the 4 quadrants of this universe. This also represents the 4 elemental bases of our raw material making up the planes of matter: air, fire, water, and earth. These 4 elementals make up the main chemical constituents of our DNA code and are being re-encrypted by the auroras through the Crystal River current. The chemical catalyst of this elemental re-encryption is Mother's quintessence, which is a substance that just arrived last month at the Universal Gateway opening. This new life foundation is necessary in order to focus the divine wholeness of God consciousness in the newly given dispensation of the anchored Ascension timeline. The city Foursquare is the Golden City. It is an architecture that returns God's laws and life force, which is Christ, back to this planet. Our guardian contingent was working primarily in the Middle East, Jerusalem, Egypt, and in the parallel networks in Peru with this architecture. This was a final work in anchoring what was discussed in the September 2010 newsletter about the cosmic cube of God's 144,000. In these demographic areas on the Earth plane, there are spinning vortices that allow intersections between the parallel Earth timelines. Reversed alien technology hijack of these spinning vortices, which are heart circuitry centers that direct energy in the grid system, are called a black heart system, or also known as an Anubian black heart. A black heart system is an inorganic and artificial heart brain that circulates and directs planetary life force and frequency current into distorted holograms, negative forms, phantom or dead spaces in the underworlds, and off-planet to Orion for their usage. They are also used to maintain the compression needed for the magnetic imprints of alien implants and their machinery to operate in the planet. These are frequency distortions that have been designed to reverse and siphon life force in a variety of unhealthy ways. Our Earth Star family will begin to be involved in healing the field damage these systems have left behind. The negative alien agenda minaret versus Krystal Star spires. Guardian forces determined that the black heart systems were being fed by the larger networks of frequency reversals being powered by reversal Metatronic cube alien technology. One such power plant cube is the Black Stone Cube, or Kaaba, in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Multiple millions of beings are hardwired into the black cube, and their life force is used to power up this negative alien agenda network in the Middle East. Some of these beings are incarnated on Earth, and many others were trapped in other dimensional planes through its soul binding. This on-planet network was comprised of thousands of mosque minarets located primarily in Europe and in the Middle East. The minarets are physical and etheric structures that were designed to be point holders of reversal frequency, which reinforce and run the reversal net systems throughout multiple dimensions. A massive multidimensional battle in the Jerusalem area was waged with dark power being directed from this complex minaret-connected network that had an extensive foothold in the second dimension and fourth dimension and was rooted in the Earth core. Many of the manipulation of Earth's timelines have occurred in the two-dimensional gate and the Earth core hijacked, where genocide and killing broadcasts are used repeatedly to manipulate the masses. We have seen this warring in the Middle East repeatedly as a mirror to this alien manipulation. Please note this information is not ever intended as any type of judgment towards Islamic faith, as the planet's many religions have suffered from serious alien hijack. This is just one example of many. Once the city Foursquare was anchored in its foundation platform in Jerusalem, a massive call for Guardian grid workers to topple the minaret structure from its reversal net broadcast was made. Some of us were sent to the Atlantean timeline and underworld causation time fields to wait for the immediate action of guardian-assisted false timeline erasure, false ascension program removal, and transiting of trapped soul fragments. Many of us may have felt the underworld fields moving through our bodies as portals being used for mass transit. This was a literal cutting off of the power plant and from other timelines being used that were sending directed life force energies into this massive negative alien agenda network. The cutting off of the actual power source and supply by transiting and removing soul bodies being used this way rendered the negative alien system in the Middle East inactive. During this critical window of opportunity, Guardian teams reclaimed and recoded these networks to architecture that would run Krystal Star frequency throughout multiple layers. The Metatronic Cube Minaret network stopped pulsing reversals into the planetary field and is systematically being replaced and recoded into a replacement or override technology called Krystal Star spires. These new networks are affectionately being called kisses by the Guardian Krystal family. As these Guardian kisses are running corrected frequencies and life force patterns into the planetary grid network, there is a systematic process of rehabilitation happening in their coordinate locations on the planetary grid. These Krystal Star spires, or kisses network, are able to run living energy fields back into the earth from the city foursquare foundation pillars. This strengthens the planetary body and is acting as a buffer field that is building to protect the entire planetary body and all of her inhabitants. This field is building a new ascension platform that is acting as a hub through various islands which are being anchored on the planet's surface during this time. This has to do with stabilizing the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is the geological area of great instability due to volcanic eruptions and seismic activity. Apparently, these certain island chains were a part of land masses or colonies in the Pacific Rim that have been long forgotten through the loss of our galactic history. These islands are specific to reclaiming histories and artifacts about our real human origin and other advanced civilizations. The eternal eye of God. For years, the Guardians have been showing me optical lenses which refract the light source into the holographic projector of the consciousness blueprint fields. It was shown how intermediary lenses, or eyes, are used in mind control to manipulate the patterns of refracted light in our reality by creating distorted holograms. Negative alien technology created many of these eyes or lenses, which operate as the optical lens of the false gods. In 2010, the Krystal family of 144,000 began to witness the schematic of the divine mind of God upon the third eye, which had been imprinted in the center of our brain. The actual living and eternal divine plan of God is projected as a geometric schematic of the divine will blueprint as seen through its all-seeing eye. This all-seeing eye symbol has been hijacked in the past through the many uses of occultism, such as that which has been used to control the economic and financial system as well as the money supply. All intermediary lenses of mind control, the eye of Yahweh, the eye of Jehovah, the eye of Horus, and other religious control mechanisms requiring salvation or redemption, must be broken away in order to see the mind of one God. This eternal eye of God is coming to reside as the living presence in our rewired brain. The eternal eye of God projects its divine mind blueprint as an imprinted geometric tesseract called the Cosmic Cube 144 Matrix. This Cosmic Cube 144 replaces the Metatronic Cube. Some of us in this family may have been consciously aware that in the last weeks the schematic was projected directly into the planetary field through our own brain and bodies. The eternal eye of God has been placed in the field through our embodied person, and our mission is to ensure we hold this 144 cell schematic for the balance of the planet. When the schematic is being released, it is similar that your body is acting as a frequency current transformer, stepping down and stepping up the frequencies as they are run throughout your internal circuitry. We are getting used to this sensation, as it may feel like an energetic phasing, electrical popping, and a massive amount of current vibrating throughout your center core and vertical channel moving out from your crown. This generates a magnetic field around us, and electronics and technology may not prefer this so much. We have been positioned all over the world in order to run these eternal eye of God schematics into the planetary networks. This divine will from the mind of God blueprint has been placed in the 33rd parallel north latitude coordinate for access all over the globe. The 33rd parallel north is a circle of latitude that is 33 degrees north of the Earth's equatorial plane. It crosses Africa, Asia, the Pacific Ocean, North America, and the Atlantic Ocean. This begins the process of which planetary guardian grid workers are able to access the geometries required to create diamond networks of trinitized forms throughout the globe. This is required to change the bi-wave energy system to the tri-wave energy system, which in effect is moving from a closed energy system to an open source network. The Vesica Pisces 2 Trinity forms. Over the last 5,000 years, our planet has been operating on a closed bi-wave system. A closed system means finite energy supply. With finite energy supply, consuming others' energies and parasitic relationships multiplied into massive proportions on our planet. This energetic imbalance was purposely programmed by the controllers to distort the organic relationship between the electron and proton spin rates. The life force energy was being harnessed by controllers through hijacked creational code and inorganic architecture through the Vesica Pisces or bipolar geometry. This hijacked Vesica Pisces architecture kept The binary code, which is consciousness polarity split through separation and distortion, locked down in our planet so that the Trinity code or the Unity code would not be accessible. It forced reversals and split patterns that continually fragmented our consciousness at multiple dimensional levels. The time of the Vesica Pisces geometric harness is ending, and we are learning how to create trinitized forms which allow the feedback loop of source field energies. Many of us as grid workers will be called to continue the rehabilitation of the planetary networks in major cities and major hubs. Some of us will be training to learn how to rehabilitate the human aura and many other life forms that will be exposed to our planet in the future to learn how to rehabilitate their bodies. At this time, we are learning to be re-educators and rehabilitators to our planet, and potentially for many other planets that may require this support at some point in the future. When the life force energy is drawn back into the source field through the trinitized geometries, the feedback loop of reciprocal source light is generated and expanded. Our goal during these new beginnings of time is to create the tritone or neutral field that draws the composite energy back into the 0 point as a feedback loop, back into the source of all creation. These patterns on the grid are called chalice configurations, which are in effect the life-giving nourishment of the Divine Mother principle that we have missed so much. This Trinity field creates an eternal and perpetual supply of life force that regenerates the bodies. This eternal supply of life force is the cosmic Christos light and the Trinity principle, which when is used in matter, the pattern is called a trinitized form. Since our God source code is a Trinity wave accessed through the merging of polarity, such as the merging of masculine and feminine energies, our species has been suppressed from connecting through the sacred union relationship. Sacred union is our divine birthright, and this organic architecture is now being returned to our species, to the human race. This gender energy pattern is changing now on our planet. The sacred union personification is about perfected inner energetic balance between the gender principles. This is also referred to as the embodiment of Hieros Gamos, or the risen Christos. This is the foundational design for the Avatar of Ascension, the Guardian Group hosted mentor band of living intelligent energy called the Hieros Gamos system. The Hieros Gamos system, or HGS, is a multidimensional living intelligent technology being created into a mathematical template within the ES, or Energetic Synthesis Community Container. The HGS calibration method is being released by the Guardian host of the HGS this month on our website. For more information, please go to energeticsynthesis.com. Inner balance to sacred marriage. The Hieros Gamos system is a self-mastery study that is designed to help anyone connect to and find the inner energetic core and learn the language to remember the inner spiritual purpose. The Hieroskamos system is a multidimensional and living template technology being offered to those desiring to expand their own personal empowerment by means of developing spiritual exploration and personal consciousness. The development of higher sensory perception leads to the awareness of communicating directly with one's inner energetic core and finding one's divine mission and purpose in life. As one finds clarity within the personal knowing of their energetic core and purpose in life, inner balance returns, allowing a state of well-being that includes inner peace and harmony. Through the intentional application and developmental use of the Hieroskamos system, one may develop a foundation based upon energetic self-mastery principles and claim personal sovereignty and responsibility over one's personal energies. In result, one may become fully cognizant in efficiently and harmlessly directing focus and attention to maximize living life force potentials. Much of this knowledge has been esoteric and hidden for centuries in many mystery school teachings and ancient wisdom philosophies that carried down this knowledge through certain blood lineages. Basic energetic concepts in comprehending how to access universal creative intelligence forces, the natural energetic laws of governing forms, and how one can masterfully direct these energies to influence their experience within the world of matter, have only been allowed to be accessed by a privileged few. The Ascension timeline requires our participation with ourselves, and in order to gain energetic sovereignty in the matter worlds, the commitment to serve one's inner spiritual core is what allows one to have access to these previously hidden systems. To become attuned and aligned to the HGS template for applied session work for a multitude of purposes, one must patiently commit to the process of personal auric calibration to the HGS field. This is called HGS calibration. This is the most effective, efficient, harmless, and productive method to gain access to the living energy system hosted by Guardian Krystal Star teams. Patience and learning with basic HGS calibration method will yield fantastic results with personal healing and spiritual development. Massive increases with higher sensory perception, lucid dreaming awareness, and reconnection back into the God-sovereign free Krystal Star intelligent field, which has returned to the planet at this time. Without completing the calibration method, the HGS system is rendered inactive. Heart-based integrity, ethical conduct, and the full agreement to honor the cosmic sovereign law of humanity is required to be a facilitator of the HGS system. The HGS system is primarily geared for personal healing while learning how to become one's own etheric surgeon. This allows anyone to remove alien machinery from their own aura, while participating directly with the process of spiritual initiation and light body activation as guided by higher sensory perceptive ability. Simultaneously, the system will educate one's awareness through participation with the galactic history time fields. This is to begin to remember the journey in the timelines with extraterrestrial origin and the real histories of the human race. This is a new language being given to re-educate oneself beyond third-dimensional mind control and its many veils of illusion. Learning to go beyond fear programs, beyond mental preconceptions and dogma, is mandatory for successful HGS calibration and for the process of learning how to use the system. A statement of action and responsibility under cosmic sovereign law is required to facilitate the system under the terms provided to activate the HGS mentor band to connect and support with one's HGS session work. For our current certified mentors of the Hieroskamos system, it is suggested in all agreed upon client facilitator sessions that are reached through the mutual consent of all parties involved that the HGS calibration method is the suggested prerequisite for the continual use of the full HGS session template and the HGS modules. Under certain conditions, like parents of children or animals, larger grid work projects, or a steward of organizations, the intention of stating cosmic sovereign law to be applied toward the HGS session clearing is sufficient. HGS calibration method can be given freely as spiritual homework before or after session work for the client to learn how to take self-responsibility for personal healing. This is especially important for those persons new to the Hieroskamos system or are non-community members that are not well versed within the 12-dimensional shielding technique and basic energetic clearing procedures. The use of the personal 12-dimensional shield between the client and facilitator will greatly enhance the efficiency and ease of holding the session containment field and processes for clearing, healing, and inorganic removals. Training the client relationship into basic Hieroskamos system calibration procedure is the first key to have effective and productive continual sessions. Those confident in their energetic session ability may also intuit to utilize the HGS calibration method and are free to share the HGS calibration method with everyone at this time. These materials are integrated into the Energetic Synthesis website, of which can be easily referenced and shared with any person or group that may benefit. It is highly recommended to run through the HGS calibration procedure beforehand with any client facilitator session. This means the facilitator should suggest before the session or during the first session to only run HGS calibration method as the first session. Listening to guidance received with HGS calibration may take minutes, hours, or weeks. With chronic physical pain or difficult cases such as possession, addiction, or severe trauma, it is suggested to apply HGS calibration steps and the Quick Step PDD method. Quick Step audio meditation is in the Community Platinum Archives and can be freely given to any client for session support or for assistance with the HGS calibration method. One use or multiple usages may be required to complete HGS calibration. At this time, the Guardian Host requests that non-community members only work with the HGS calibration procedure and the Quick Step method. The HGS session template and its modules will be released at a future date as the complete HGS manual, which will be announced at a later time to non-community members and to all of the public. However, the ES community is currently being requested to complete HGS session template fieldwork within the ES member community container. This is the energetic responsibility required at this time to build the extensive network and mathematical template in our community-supported system. This means that only ES community members will have Guardian Mentor support with facilitation of the entire HGS session template as provided in the HGS manual. ES members can calibrate non-members as clients as the session holder and facilitator, while non-members will not be supported in HGS session facilitation due to the field container constraint at this time. These HGS sessions are recorded mathematical template procedures that are building the platform of the ES and HGS community, which protects the integrity of the system, as well as allows for the most effective use of the system moving forward. The ES community container is the steward and protector of the Hyros-Gamos system. For newer ES members, a thorough comprehension of the ES foundations and use of the ES core practices, the ES core triad, is the prerequisite for learning the HGS method and carrying out full facilitation of an HGS session. A general time period of 6 months is suggested for continual ES community membership for the appropriate integration time, such as listening to the community monthly classes before attempting to learn the HGS session template. The ES community is the energy platform and foundation of which to learn the Hyros-Gamos language and to develop a skill set with core ES practices and ES foundations and to take part in the community monthly activations. Seasoned energy session workers and energy facilitators with their own private practices may be exempt from the prerequisite time period. This is a personal area where integrity, ethical conduct, and self-responsibility to use the system wisely should be greatly considered. We are merging into a new community structure to support the requirements of the HGS technology. Please have patience with us as we are in a growing transition to support the system as best as we are able. We will develop more clarity with training, learning, and facilitation of the HGS system to become available to as many people who truly desire to learn proficiency with the energy healing that is made possible with the HGS system. This is a completely new technology that we are learning to support the best as we are moving forward. This month of January, check our website if you're interested in learning more about the Avatar of Ascension Hyros-Gamos system and its HGS calibration procedure. Congratulations to our lightworkers, star family, and indigos everywhere. From our star and light family to yours, we send our heartfelt appreciation and gratitude for a joyous, abundant, and loving 2013. Happy New Year. Stay in the luminosity of your avatar heart path. And signing off for now with much love. Thank you.